This bank isn't for welfare recipients like you. Garrett Wells snatched the withdrawal slip from Amara's hand. He tore it in half. The pieces fluttered to the marble floor like confetti. Every customer in Premier National Bank's flagship Manhattan branch turned to stare. The ripping sound had cut through the hushed lobby like a gunshot. Amara Thompson, 42, stood in faded jeans and a Stanford hoodie. Her worn messenger bag hung from her shoulder. She'd written the slip for $50,000. "Sir, I have a valid account here," she said quietly. Garrett stepped closer, the torn paper crunching under his polished shoes. "People like you need to use the ATM outside." He pointed toward the exit. Other customers pulled out phones. A college student named Jessica started live streaming. Her viewer count climbed, 50, 100, 200. Amara stared at her destroyed paperwork. Have you ever been dismissed so completely that someone literally tore up your request in front of strangers? These real-life stories show how black stories still unfold in America's most respected institutions. The digital clock above the teller windows showed 4:47 p.m., 13 minutes until closing on a Friday afternoon. Amara bent down and collected the torn pieces of her withdrawal slip. Her movements were deliberate, controlled. She'd learned long ago that reacting with anger only made situations worse. "Ma'am, you need proper identification." Garrett's voice carried across the lobby. "Your demographic has unusually high rates of banking fraud." The words hung in the air like smoke. Other customers shifted uncomfortably in line. Amara straightened, holding the paper fragments. "I provided my driver's license and account number." "That's not sufficient for this amount." Garrett crossed his arms. His wedding ring caught the light as he gestured dismissively. "I need additional verification." Behind the counter, teller Patricia Hendricks watched the exchange. Her fingers hovered over her keyboard, unsure whether to intervene. Jessica Park, 19, held her phone steady. Her TikTok live stream had reached 500 viewers. Comments flooded the screen. "This is straight discrimination. Call the manager. Someone help her." The stream's title read, "Banking While Black, Live." Amara opened her wallet methodically. Inside, a black American Express Centurion card caught the fluorescent light for just a moment before she tucked it behind her regular debit card. "Here's my state ID, my debit card, and my account information." She placed each item on the counter with precise movements. Garrett barely glanced at them. "I'll need to call this in for verification." "The verification process typically takes 10 to 15 minutes, Patricia whispered from behind him. "Exactly." Garrett's smile was thin. "And we close in 12 minutes. Zin." Amara's phone buzzed. A text message appeared on the screen. "Board meeting moved to 6 p.m., Thompson." She glanced at it briefly, then slipped the phone back into her pocket. "Sir, my daughter has surgery Monday morning. I need this withdrawal today." Her voice remained steady, professional. "Perhaps we could expedite the process." "Surgery?" Garrett's eyebrows rose. What kind of surgery requires $50,000 in cash? The question felt invasive, unnecessary. Other customers strained to listen. "That's personal medical information," Amara replied. "Well, if you can't explain the legitimate need..." Garrett shrugged. Mrs. Elena Rodriguez, 73, stepped forward from her place in line. "Young man, this lady has been nothing but polite." "Why are you treating her this way?" "Ma'am, please return to your transaction." Garrett's tone sharpened. "This doesn't concern you." "Discrimination concerns everyone," Mrs. Rodriguez shot back. Jessica's phone captured the exchange. Her viewer count jumped to 800. The comments section exploded with fire emojis and outraged messages. Branch manager Louise Crawford emerged from her office. Her heels clicked against the marble as she approached. "What's the situation here?" Louise's eyes immediately focused on Amara, scanning her casual attire with obvious judgment. "Potential fraud case," Garrett explained. "Large cash withdrawal, insufficient documentation." Louise nodded without examining any of Amara's identification. I see. Ma'am, you'll need to wait in our customer service area while we complete verification. She gestured toward uncomfortable plastic chairs near the security desk. I'd prefer to wait here, Amara said calmly. That's not possible. You're disrupting other customers' transactions. The lie was obvious. No other customers were being served. 3 tellers stood idle, watching the confrontation unfold. Security guard Thomas Mitchell approached. His hand rested on his radio. At 62, he'd worked bank security for 15 years. This felt different from typical problem customers. Is there an issue? His voice was measured, professional. Just following protocol, Garrett replied quickly. Amara's messenger bag contained items that told a different story. A first-class boarding pass to Dubai tucked between folders. Business cards in an expensive leather holder. A Mont Blanc pen that cost more than most people's monthly salary. But these details remained hidden, overshadowed by her deliberate choice to dress casually. The clock ticked to 4:50 p.m. 10 minutes until closing, Louise announced loudly. We'll need to expedite all remaining transactions. She began ushering other customers toward the teller windows. Only Amara remained in the customer service area, still waiting for her verification. David Park, 34, finished his business deposit. As he passed Amara, he paused. I've been banking here for 8 years, he said quietly. I've never seen them treat anyone like this. Garrett overheard. Sir, please exit the premises. We're closing soon. David hesitated, then handed Amara his business card. If you need a witness, he murmured. Jessica's live stream now had 1,200 viewers. The hashtag #BankingWhileBlack began trending in the New York metropolitan area. Comments poured in. This is 2025, not 1955. Call the news stations. Post this everywhere. Thomas Mitchell watched the social media attention building. His 25 years of law enforcement experience before banking had taught him to recognize when situations were escalating beyond simple customer service issues. Maybe we should call this in, he suggested quietly to Louise. Call what in? A woman trying to defraud the bank? Louise's response was sharp, but Thomas noticed details others missed. Amara's calm demeanor under pressure. Her expensive leather bag despite casual clothes. The way she spoke, educated, articulate, completely unfazed by the confrontation. Most fraud attempts involved nervous, agitated behavior. This woman seemed almost amused. The clock showed 4:52 p.m. 8 minutes, Garrett announced. If verification doesn't complete, you'll need to return Monday. Monday will be too late, Amara said simply. That's unfortunate, but policy is policy. Patricia Hendricks finally spoke up. Sir, her account shows significant activity history, multiple large transactions, all legitimate. Garrett shot her a warning look. Patricia, please focus on your own responsibilities. The teller fell silent, but her expression showed clear discomfort with the situation. Amara pulled out her phone again. This time she scrolled through her contacts deliberately, as if searching for a specific number. Are you calling someone? Louise asked. My assistant, Amara replied. She can provide additional verification if needed. That won't be necessary. We have our own procedures. But Amara had already selected a contact. The name on her screen read simply, Chairman, Direct Line. Her finger hovered over the call button. Jessica's live stream captured the moment. 1,500 viewers watched as this calm, dignified woman prepared to make what appeared to be a routine phone call. None of them knew they were about to witness the most dramatic reversal in banking history. The clock ticked to 4:54 p.m. The phone call went to voicemail. Amara ended it without leaving a message. No answer? Garrett's smirk widened. How unfortunate. Louise Crawford stepped closer, her voice dropping to what she thought was a confidential whisper.
Thomas, I think we should prepare an incident report. Document everything carefully, but whispers carried in marble lobbies. Jessica's live stream picked up every word. The viewer count hit 2,000. Comments flooded faster than anyone could read.
Document this discrimination. Save the video. Someone call the ACLU, 4:55 p.m. 5 minutes until closing, Louise announced. Ma'am, you'll need to schedule an appointment for Monday morning. The earliest Monday appointment is 10 a.m., Patricia called out, checking her computer. My daughter's surgery is at 8 a.m. Monday. Amara's voice remained steady. This timing doesn't work. Perhaps you should have planned better, Garrett replied. The comment drew audible gasps from the remaining customers. Mrs. Rodriguez shook her head in disgust. Thomas Mitchell's radio crackled. Security Station Alpha, please respond. He stepped away to answer. This is Thomas. Go ahead. We're showing elevated social media activity from your location. Any issues we should know about? Thomas glanced at Jessica's phone, then at the crowd gathering outside. Word was spreading. Possible customer service situation. Monitoring closely. Copy that. Keep us informed. Louise overheard the exchange. Her confidence wavered slightly. Social media activity? Nothing we can't handle, Thomas assured her, but his tone suggested otherwise. Amara tried calling again. This time someone answered on the first ring. Hello, this is Amara. Her voice carried further than before. I'm at the Manhattan flagship branch. There's a situation. Garrett rolled his eyes. Ma'am, whoever you're calling cannot override our security procedures. Amara ignored him. Please conference me with the chairman. Conference with the chairman? Louise laughed. Ma'am, do you understand this is Premier National Bank? We don't just conference random customers with our executive leadership. The laugh was a mistake. It echoed through the live stream to 3,000 viewers now. Comments erupted. She said chairman. Plot twist coming. This is about to get crazy. David Park, who had lingered near the entrance, stepped forward. Excuse me, but I work in corporate finance. That didn't sound like someone bluffing. Sir, please exit the premises, Garrett snapped. Actually, I think I'll wait. This is getting interesting. More people gathered outside the bank's windows. The live stream was being shared across platforms. Local social media influencers picked up the story. Monica Stevens, a banking industry blogger with 50,000 followers, arrived after receiving a tip. She began recording through the window. 4:56 p.m. 4 minutes, Louise announced, but her voice lacked its earlier authority. Amara's phone conversation continued. Yes, I'll hold for the chairman. She put the call on speaker. The bank's main telephone system began ringing. Multiple lines lit up simultaneously. Patricia's desk phone rang. Louise's office phone rang. The customer service line rang. Even the branch manager's direct line was buzzing. What the hell? Garrett muttered. Louise rushed to answer her phone. Premier National Bank, Manhattan flagship branch, Louise Crawford speaking. The voice on the other end was crisp, professional. Miss Crawford, this is Robert Sterling's office. The chairman is trying to reach one of your customers immediately. Louise's face went pale. I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Chairman Sterling needs to speak with a customer at your location. A Ms. Thompson. The name hit Louise like a physical blow. She looked at Amara with new eyes. Thompson? She repeated. Yes. Is she available? Jessica's live stream exploded. 4,000 viewers heard every word of the conversation. Comments poured in. Chairman calling her. Who is she? Somebody important. Garrett grabbed Louise's phone. This is Branch Manager Wells. What customer are you referring to? Sir, I need to speak with the ranking branch officer immediately. That's me.
No, sir. I need the highest-ranking officer present. Louise took back the phone. Her hands were shaking. This is Louise Crawford, branch manager. Miss Crawford, Chairman Sterling is holding for Ms. Amara Thompson. Please put her on the line immediately. The silence in the bank was deafening. Thomas Mitchell moved closer to the group. His security training kicked in. When corporate headquarters called directly, situations had escalated beyond normal protocols. Amara held out her hand for Louise's phone. May I? Louise hesitated. Around them, every customer, every employee, every person watching online held their breath. The clock showed 4:57 p.m. Ms. Crawford? The voice from the phone prompted. Yes, she's right here. Louise handed over the phone with trembling fingers. Chairman Sterling? Amara's voice was suddenly different, more authoritative. This is Amara. Amara, I got your message. What's happening there? The voice was warm, familiar. This wasn't a formal business call. I'm being denied access to my account.
The staff seems to have some concerns about my legitimacy. Denied access? The chairman's tone sharpened. By whom? Amara looked directly at Garrett. Branch Manager Wells and Branch Manager Crawford. Put me on speaker, please. Amara adjusted the phone. Chairman Sterling's voice filled the lobby. This is Robert Sterling, Chairman of Premier National Bank.
Who am I speaking with?
Garrett stepped forward. Sir, this is Garrett Wells, Branch Manager. We were following standard verification procedures for large cash withdrawals. Mr. Wells, what verification procedures require denying service to our CEO? The words hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. CEO. Jessica's phone nearly slipped from her hands. 5,000 viewers watched her struggle to process what they'd just heard. The comments section went insane. CEO? She's the CEO? Plot twist of the century. Louise's legs nearly gave out. She grabbed the counter for support.
I'm sorry, did you say CEO? She whispered. Yes, Miss Amara Thompson, Chief Executive Officer of Premier National Bank. The woman you've been harassing for the past 15 minutes. Garrett's face went through several shades of pale before settling on gray. Thomas Mitchell stepped back, his hand instinctively moving away from his radio. In 15 years of security work, he'd never seen anything like this. Patricia covered her mouth with both hands. Mrs. Rodriguez smiled broadly. I knew something was special about that young lady. David Park pulled out his phone and started recording too. 4:58 p.m. The bank was supposed to close in 2 minutes. Instead, it had become the center of a viral social media storm that was just beginning. Outside, the crowd of onlookers had grown to 20 people. Inside, 6 employees and 4 customers witnessed what would become the most shared banking video in internet history. Amara looked around the room calmly. Her expression hadn't changed, but something in her posture had shifted. The casual woman in jeans and a hoodie was gone. In her place stood the chief executive officer of a $127 billion financial institution. Now, she said quietly, shall we discuss what happened here today? The silence stretched for 10 seconds that felt like 10 minutes. Garrett's mouth opened and closed without sound. Louise gripped the counter so tightly her knuckles went white. Chairman Sterling, Amara said into the phone, I believe Mr. Wells and Miss Crawford need a moment to process this information. Of course. Amara, are you able to complete your transaction now? I believe so, though I'd like to review some branch policies while I'm here. The live stream viewer count hit 7,000. Jessica's hands shook as she tried to keep the phone steady. Comments flooded in faster than the eye could follow. She owns the bank. Karma is real. They're so fired. Amara reached into her messenger bag and pulled out a business card. The embossed Premier National Bank logo caught the light. Below it, in clean sans-serif font, Amara Thompson, Chief Executive Officer. She placed it on the counter next to the torn pieces of her withdrawal slip. Miss Crawford, could you please verify this card in your system? Louise's fingers trembled as she typed. The computer screen displayed Amara's executive profile, CEO designation, unlimited transaction authority, board of directors contact information. It's verified, Louise whispered. Excellent. Amara picked up the torn withdrawal slip pieces. Now, about this $50,000 withdrawal. Patricia rushed to her terminal. Ma'am, I mean Ms. Thompson, I can process that immediately. Thank you, Patricia. Amara's tone was professional but kind. I appreciate your efficiency. Garrett finally found his voice. Miss Thompson, we were following standard procedures. Standard procedures? Amara tilted her head slightly. Mr. Wells, could you walk me through those procedures? Well, for large cash withdrawals, we typically verify identification, correct? Yes. Which I provided. Yes, but... And you typically run account verification, which takes approximately 3 to 5 minutes? Sometimes longer if... Mr. Wells, I've been CEO for 3 years. I designed these procedures. Amara's voice remained calm, but steel entered her tone. There is no standard procedure that involves tearing up a customer's paperwork. The live stream captured every word. 8,000 viewers watched Garrett's face crumble. There's no procedure for racial profiling either, Mrs. Rodriguez called out. Ma'am, please, Thomas interjected, but his heart wasn't in it. Amara pulled out her phone again. Patricia, could you pull up my account history while I make another call? Of course, Ms. Thompson. Amara dialed. Legal? This is Amara. I need our discrimination protocols activated for the Manhattan flagship branch. Louise went white. Discrimination protocols? Yes, standard corporate response for potential civil rights violations. Amara's tone was matter-of-fact. Legal will review all security footage, customer complaints, and employee records. She paused, listening to the voice on the phone. How many formal complaints has this branch received in the past 6 months regarding discriminatory treatment? Louise stammered. I don't have those numbers. 23, Amara said, reading from her phone. 23 formal complaints. That places this branch in the bottom 5% company-wide for customer satisfaction. The numbers hit like hammer blows. Jessica's live stream had reached 10,000 viewers. Local news stations were starting to pick up the story. Miss Thompson, Garrett tried again. If I could explain... Mr. Wells, in your explanation, please include why you assumed a casually dressed black woman couldn't have a legitimate banking relationship here. The directness of the question silenced him. Also explain why you felt comfortable tearing up my paperwork in front of other customers. I didn't mean... And explain why you referred to me as someone who belongs at an ATM rather than inside the bank. Each point landed with surgical precision. Patricia finished processing the account verification. Miss Thompson, your account shows a current balance of $2.3 million in checking alone. The number echoed through the live stream. 10,000 people heard it simultaneously. Thank you, Patricia. Please proceed with the $50,000 withdrawal. Immediately, ma'am. Louise stepped forward desperately. Miss Thompson, perhaps we could discuss this privately. I prefer transparency, Ms. Crawford. This conversation is being documented by multiple sources. Amara gestured toward Jessica's phone, then toward the security cameras. I believe in accountability. Her phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced at it. Interesting. Our stock price has dropped 0.4% in the past 20 minutes. Social media sentiment analysis shows significant negative impact. She looked directly at Garrett. Mr. Wells, are you familiar with the concept of reputational risk?
Garrett shook his head weakly. Each viral discrimination incident costs financial institutions an average of $1.2 million in market capitalization. This live stream currently has 10,000 viewers and climbing. The numbers were devastating. Jessica's phone showed viewer counts still rising. 11,000, 12,000. Miss Thompson, Louise tried again. Surely we can resolve this internally. Oh, we absolutely will resolve this. Amara's smile was razor sharp. Mr. Wells, Miss Crawford, you both have choices to make in the next 60 seconds. She pulled up another number on her phone. This is our chief legal officer's direct line. Should I call him now, or would you prefer to handle this conversation first? The threat was clear but unspoken. Thomas Mitchell had seen enough confrontations to recognize when someone held all the cards. This woman, this CEO, wasn't angry. She was calculating. That made her far more dangerous than any shouting customer. What kind of choices? Garrett asked weakly. Amara looked at her watch, a Patek Philippe that cost more than his annual salary. The kind that determine whether you walk out of here with dignity or in handcuffs. The live stream erupted. 12,000 viewers watched as the most powerful person in the room delivered an ultimatum that would change everything. Outside, news vans were beginning to arrive. Amara walked behind the teller counter without permission. Patricia stepped aside immediately. Miss Thompson, you can't just... Louise started. I can access any area of any premier national bank location. Amara's fingers moved across Patricia's keyboard with practiced ease. I'm reviewing this branch's performance metrics. The computer screen filled with data, revenue charts, customer satisfaction scores, complaint records. Fascinating numbers, Ms. Crawford Amara's voice carried to every corner of the lobby. This branch generated $47.2 million in revenue last quarter. She scrolled down. Customer satisfaction scores, 3.2 out of 5. That places you in the bottom 15% of our 847 locations nationwide. Louise's face went crimson. These metrics were usually confidential. Discrimination complaints for the past 6 months, 23 formal reports. The company average is 4. Jessica's live stream captured every number. 15,000 viewers watched the real-time corporate audit. Comments exploded, dragging them with data. Receipts everywhere. CEO mode activated. Mr. Wells, Amara continued, your individual performance review is also interesting. You've been flagged for aggressive customer interaction 12 times this year. Garrett's shoulders slumped. Those were misunderstandings. Were they? Amara pulled up security footage on another screen. Let's review today's interaction. The video showed everything. Garrett tearing her withdrawal slip, his dismissive gestures, the pointed looks he'd exchanged with Louise. Shall we analyze this frame by frame for our legal team? That's not necessary, Louise said quickly. I disagree. Amara's phone buzzed. Our chief legal officer is very interested in this footage, as is our compliance department. She answered the call on speaker. Jonathan? Yes, I'm at the Manhattan flagship. Please conference in Maria from HR. Amara, we're seeing significant social media activity. Are you safe? Perfectly safe. I'm conducting an impromptu performance review. A second voice joined the call. This is Maria Santos, Chief Human Resources Officer. Amara, what's the situation? Maria, I need you to review Employee Handbook Section 4.7, Equal Treatment Standards. I have it open now. Please read subsection C aloud. Maria's voice filled the lobby. Any employee who denies service based on customer appearance, race, or perceived economic status faces immediate disciplinary action up to and including termination. Silence. Thank you, Maria. Jonathan, I also need you to review Federal Banking Regulation 12 CFR 202.4.
The Equal Credit Opportunity Act provisions? Correct. Specifically the sections regarding discriminatory practices in banking services. Amara, those violations carry significant penalties. Potential federal oversight, civil rights investigations. Louise looked like she might faint. Amara pulled up another screen. Our stock price has now dropped 0.8% in 35 minutes. The hashtag banking while black is trending nationally. She turned to face Garrett directly. Mr. Wells, you have two choices. Resign immediately with a neutral reference or face termination for cause with no severance package. I don't understand. You violated company policy, federal banking regulations, and basic human decency. Those actions are being viewed by 17,000 people in real time. The viewer count on Jessica's stream kept climbing. News outlets were picking up the story. Miss Crawford, you have similar options. Immediate resignation or formal investigation for supervisory negligence. This is insane, Louise protested. You can't just fire people because of social media. I'm not firing anyone because of social media. Amara's tone was ice cold. I'm addressing systematic discrimination that's cost this company millions in lost business and reputational damage. She pulled up financial records. This branch's African American customer retention rate is 23% below company average. Hispanic customer retention is 31% below average. The numbers painted a clear picture of institutional bias. Your customer acquisition in minority communities has declined 45% over the past 2 years under your management. Those are just coincidences, Garrett started. Are they? Amara opened another file. Here are the written complaints we've received about this branch. Shall I read some quotes? She selected one at random. Manager made me feel unwelcome because of my race. Another, staff assumed I was trying to cash a fake check. Here's my favorite. They acted like I was robbing the place instead of making a deposit. Each quote landed like a physical blow. Jonathan's voice came through the phone. Amara, we need to implement immediate corrective measures. This exposure could trigger federal oversight. Agreed. Maria, effective immediately, every employee at this branch will complete 40 hours of bias training. I'll arrange that today, Maria confirmed. Jonathan, I want new customer service protocols implemented by Monday morning. Every customer interaction will be recorded for quality assurance. Consider it done. Amara looked around the lobby. This branch will also be placed under corporate oversight for 6 months. Regional management will review all major decisions. She turned back to Garrett and Louise. You have 60 seconds to decide. Resignation or termination? Thomas Mitchell stepped forward. Miss Thompson, I'd like to formally apologize for my role in this situation. Thank you, Thomas. Your personnel file shows this is your first incident. You'll receive additional training but remain employed. Patricia raised her hand hesitantly. Miss Thompson, I should have spoken up sooner. I'm sorry. Patricia, you actually tried to help. Your position is secure. The differentiation was clear. Those who actively discriminated faced consequences. Those who tried to help or simply failed to intervene received training. Garrett looked at Louise desperately. She was staring at the floor. Time's up, Amara announced. I resign, Garrett whispered. Louder, please, for the recording. I resign from my position at Premier National Bank. Louise hesitated longer. If I resign, will you provide a reference? A neutral one, confirming employment dates only. I resign as well. Amara nodded to Patricia. Please prepare resignation paperwork for both managers. They'll need to surrender their access cards and clear out personal items immediately. She turned back to her phone. Maria, we'll need interim management for this branch by Monday. Already identifying candidates. Jonathan, I want a full legal review of our policies. Any gaps that allowed this situation need immediate attention. Understood. Mrs. Rodriguez applauded slowly. That was the most professional takedown I've ever witnessed. David Park was still recording on his phone. This is going to be a Harvard Business School case study. Jessica's live stream had reached 22,000 viewers. Major news networks were reaching out for interviews. Amara finally smiled. A real smile, not the corporate mask she'd worn throughout the confrontation. Patricia, about that $50,000 withdrawal. Yes, ma'am. Processing now. Thank you. And Patricia? Yes. When you finish processing my transaction, please start serving Mrs. Rodriguez. She's been waiting patiently. Of course, Ms. Thompson. Amara's phone showed multiple missed calls from reporters. The story was spreading beyond social media into mainstream news. She looked directly into Jessica's live stream camera. Thank you for documenting this interaction. Transparency creates accountability. Then she picked up the 2 torn pieces of her original withdrawal slip. Sometimes, she said quietly, the most important conversations happen when people think you can't fight back. 2 security guards from corporate headquarters arrived within 20 minutes. They escorted Garrett and Louise as they cleared out their personal belongings. Garrett's cardboard box contained family photos, a coffee mug, and a small desk plant. His 15-year banking career ended in disgrace, captured by multiple camera phones. Louise moved more slowly, her hands shaking as she packed. This isn't fair, she muttered to no one in particular. Fair? Mrs. Rodriguez overheard. Was it fair how you treated this young lady? Louise said nothing more. Patricia had called the corporate hotline. Within an hour, Regional Manager Diana Walsh arrived from downtown. She was a 48-year-old veteran who'd overseen successful branch transformations before. Miss Thompson, I'll personally ensure this branch operates to company standards, Diana promised. I have confidence in your abilities, Diana. This situation provides an opportunity for meaningful change. The live stream continued. Jessica had gained 5,000 new followers in 2 hours. Her phone battery was nearly dead, but viewers kept donating to keep the stream running. This is history happening live, one comment read. By 6 p.m., news vans lined the street outside. Local television reporters prepared segments for the evening news. Inside, Amara finished her withdrawal transaction. Patricia counted out $50,000 in hundreds, her movements precise and respectful. Thank you, Patricia. Your professionalism today was exemplary. Patricia beamed. Thank you, Miss Thompson. I'm sorry this happened. Don't apologize for other people's choices. Focus on making better ones yourself. Amara's phone rang constantly. Corporate communications wanted to discuss media strategy. Legal needed to finalize policy changes. HR required her approval for new training protocols. She answered selectively, prioritizing operational decisions over media management. Maria, about the bias training program, I want it implemented company-wide, not just this branch. That's substantial investment, Amara. 40 hours times 23,000 employees. Calculate the cost against potential lawsuits and reputation damage. The training pays for itself. Thomas Mitchell approached hesitantly. Miss Thompson, I wanted to thank you for giving me a second chance. Thomas, your military and law enforcement background suggests you understand accountability. Use this experience to help train other security staff. I will, ma'am. I promise. Diana Walsh gathered the remaining branch employees. Everyone, we're implementing new protocols immediately. Customer service training starts tomorrow morning. She distributed tablets loaded with the new procedures. Every customer interaction gets documented. Every complaint gets investigated within 24 hours. The technology was impressive. AI-powered analysis would flag potential bias in real time. Managers would receive instant alerts about problematic interactions. We're also installing new signage, Diana continued.
Every customer will see our commitment to equal treatment prominently displayed. Amara reviewed the proposed signs on her phone. Bold text in multiple languages. Premier National Bank serves all customers with dignity and respect. Discrimination of any kind is prohibited and will result in immediate corrective action. Approved, she texted back. Mrs. Rodriguez completed her own transaction with Patricia. Honey, you handled this beautifully today. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Thank you, Mrs. Rodriguez. I learned a lot. David Park live-streamed his own analysis on LinkedIn. Just witnessed the most effective corporate crisis management I've ever seen. CEO Thompson turned discrimination into systematic change in real time. His post would eventually reach 50,000 business professionals. Jessica finally ended her TikTok stream after 3 hours. 28,000 people had watched live. The video would accumulate 2 million views within 24 hours. Thanks everyone for watching. This showed me that one person with a phone can document injustice and help create change. Local news interviews began at 7 p.m. Amara spoke with 3 television stations, maintaining her calm, professional demeanor. This incident highlights why businesses must constantly examine their practices, she told Channel 7 News. Unconscious bias training isn't optional, it's essential. The reporter asked about Garrett and Louise. Will they face legal consequences? That depends on our legal review. My priority is preventing future incidents, not punishing past ones. By Monday morning, Premier National Bank had implemented the most comprehensive anti-discrimination program in the financial sector. Every branch received bias detection software. Customer service representatives underwent mandatory quarterly training. Anonymous reporting systems allowed customers to flag concerns without fear. The bank's stock price recovered completely within a week. Customer satisfaction surveys showed immediate improvement at the Manhattan flagship branch. Garrett Wells struggled to find new employment. His resignation under discrimination charges made him nearly unemployable in banking. He eventually took a retail management position at significantly reduced pay. Louise Crawford found work at a smaller credit union, but her career advancement stalled permanently. The incident followed her through background checks. Patricia Henderson received a promotion to assistant branch manager within 6 months. Her professional handling of the crisis demonstrated leadership potential. Thomas Mitchell became Premier National's head of security training. His law enforcement experience, combined with lessons learned from the incident, made him uniquely qualified. The bank's legal team settled with 22 previous discrimination complainants. Total cost, $3.2 million. But the settlements came with mandatory policy changes that benefited all customers. Harvard Business School did indeed create a case study. Crisis leadership in the social media age became required reading for MBA students. Several other major banks adopted similar bias prevention programs preemptively, hoping to avoid Premier National's public scrutiny. Amara's daughter's surgery proceeded successfully Monday morning. The $50,000 covered experimental treatment, not covered by insurance. She made a full recovery. 6 months later, the Manhattan flagship branch ranked in the top 10% for customer satisfaction. Minority customer retention increased 67%. New account openings in diverse communities grew 89%. Diana Walsh received recognition as Regional Manager of the Year. Under her leadership, the branch became a model for inclusive banking practices. Mrs. Rodriguez became a regular customer advocate, attending community meetings to discuss banking accessibility. Her voice carried weight after her viral moment defending Amara. David Park's LinkedIn post about the incident led to consulting opportunities. He specialized in helping companies develop crisis communication strategies for the social media age. Jessica Park leveraged her viral fame into a social justice journalism internship. She graduated college with job offers from 3 major news organizations. The torn withdrawal slip, carefully preserved, was framed and hung in Premier National's corporate headquarters.
Below it, a plaque read, "Excellence begins with treating every customer with dignity, regardless of appearance." Amara kept the business cards Garrett and Louise had abandoned on the counter. She used them as bookmarks, reminders that leadership meant accountability. The incident sparked congressional hearings on banking discrimination. Federal regulators implemented industry-wide bias prevention requirements. Most importantly, customer complaints about discriminatory treatment at Premier National Bank dropped to near zero. Sometimes change requires crisis. Sometimes justice needs witnesses. Sometimes the most powerful response to discrimination is professional excellence combined with systematic reform. 1 year later, Amara returned to the Manhattan flagship branch. She wore the same jeans and Stanford hoodie, carrying the same worn leather messenger bag. Patricia, now assistant branch manager, recognized her immediately. "Miss Thompson, welcome back. How can we help you today?" "Just observing, Patricia." "Don't mind me." The branch had transformed completely. Diverse staff greeted customers warmly. Multilingual signage welcomed everyone. The uncomfortable plastic chairs were gone, replaced with comfortable seating and complimentary coffee. A young black man in work clothes approached the counter. The teller smiled genuinely, processed his transaction efficiently, and thanked him for his business. No questions about legitimacy. No suspicious looks. An elderly Latina woman needed help with online banking. 2 employees patiently explained the process in Spanish and English, ensuring she understood every step. A teenager depositing birthday money received the same professional courtesy as business clients making major transactions. Amara smiled. This was how banking should work. Diana Walsh spotted her during rounds. "Miss Thompson, you should see our latest customer satisfaction scores." "I'd love to." They reviewed the numbers together. The branch now ranked 3rd company-wide for customer service excellence. Discrimination complaints had dropped to 0. Employee satisfaction scores increased 78%. "Most importantly," Diana added, "we've become a community anchor. Local businesses specifically recommend us because of our inclusive practices. The financial impact was substantial. The branch's revenue had grown 23% despite the initial negative publicity. Customer acquisition in minority communities increased 156%. Other banks studied Premier National's transformation. Dozens of financial institutions implemented similar programs voluntarily, recognizing that discrimination was bad business. The congressional hearing Amara's incident sparked led to the Financial Services Equity Act. All federally insured banks now required annual bias training and customer treatment audits. Jessica Park had graduated journalism school and worked for a major news network. She returned to cover the anniversary story. "Miss Thompson, how do you feel about the changes your experience created?" "Individual injustice becomes meaningful when it creates systematic improvement," Amara replied. "That withdrawn slip being torn taught thousands of employees how to treat customers with dignity." Mrs. Rodriguez, now 84, attended the anniversary gathering as an honored guest. "That young lady showed us that speaking up matters. One voice can change everything." Thomas Mitchell had trained security staff at 47 bank branches. His program, Dignity in Security, became the industry standard. "I learned that protecting customers means protecting them from discrimination, too," he explained to new trainees. The incident's video remained online, serving as a teaching tool. Business schools, diversity trainers, and civil rights organizations used it to demonstrate how privilege and power could create positive change. David Park's consulting firm had helped 12 major corporations develop crisis response strategies. "The key lesson," he told clients, "is that authentic accountability beats defensive public relations every time." Garrett Wells had left banking entirely. He worked as a warehouse supervisor, having learned too late that treating people with respect matters more than protecting arbitrary policies. Louise Crawford struggled professionally, but eventually found peace volunteering with financial literacy programs in underserved communities. I needed to understand the communities I'd failed to serve, she reflected. Premier National Bank's stock price had reached all-time highs. Investors recognized that inclusive practices attracted diverse customer bases and reduced regulatory risk. The bank's annual diversity report became a model for corporate transparency. Detailed metrics on customer treatment, employee advancement, and community investment were published quarterly. Amara's daughter, now healthy and thriving, had started college with plans to study social justice law. "Mom showed me that power means responsibility," she told reporters. The $50,000 that started everything had saved her life. But the principles that emerged from that crisis would help save countless others from discrimination. Bank branches nationwide displayed the premier national commitment prominently. Every customer deserves dignity, respect, and equal treatment. No exceptions. Training videos featuring the incident's key moments played in employee break rooms. New hires learned about unconscious bias through real examples rather than theoretical scenarios. The Livestreams' impact extended globally. International banks studied the case. European financial institutions implemented similar bias prevention programs. Social media had proven its power as a tool for accountability. But more importantly, it demonstrated how individual courage could spark institutional change. Amara's calm, professional response became a masterclass in leveraging authority responsibly. She could have destroyed careers vindictively. Instead, she chose systematic reform that helped everyone. The torn withdrawal slip, now displayed in Premier National's lobby, reminded employees daily that small actions carry enormous consequences. Real-life stories like Amara's prove that Black stories still matter in modern America. But they also show how touching stories of injustice can become life stories of transformation. When discrimination happens, document it. When you witness bias, speak up professionally. When you have power, use it to create lasting change rather than temporary revenge. Share this story if you believe everyone deserves equal treatment regardless of appearance. Comment below with your own experiences of bias, both witnessing it and overcoming it. Let's make these stories catalysts for change rather than just entertainment. Subscribe for more stories of everyday heroes who transform challenges into opportunities for systematic improvement. Because sometimes the most powerful response to discrimination isn't anger, it's excellence combined with accountability. Sometimes the best revenge is creating a world where revenge becomes unnecessary. Your voice matters. Your witness matters. Your choice to speak up when you see injustice can start changes that ripple far beyond what you imagine. Together, we can ensure that no one else faces the humiliation Amara experienced simply for existing in spaces where they belong. What will you do the next time you witness discrimination? The answer might change everything.